Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Return to Work Week, powered by Workingmums.co.uk. I'm Gillian Nissim, I'm the founder of Working Mums, and I'm your host today. Working Mums has been supporting job seekers looking for a better work-life balance for over 17 years, and we're really excited to introduce Return to Work Week. The week puts a spotlight on organisations that are supporting women who want to return to work after a career break by offering work that works for them. This morning, I'm really delighted to introduce Britt-Marie Monks, the founder of The Holiday Fixer, an award-winning independent travel agency. Britt's going to be speaking about working as a self-employed home-based travel agent and how her opportunity can help you balance home and work life. She's going to be covering everything from what qualifications and personal attributes you need to be a successful travel agent, what the job entails and potential earnings, to the training and support you'll receive. And Britt's also going to talk about her own personal experience and how she's grown her business. Please keep your questions coming through using the chat function. You'll see the chat at the bottom of the screen, and Britt will endeavour to answer as many of those as she can throughout this morning's session. And with that, welcome, Britt, and over to you.
Hello. Oh, thank you so much. Hello, everybody. I really hope I don't have any connectivity issues because I tend to have some gremlins at home. So fingers crossed this all stays okay. I brought my trusty sidekick along with me, Bevan from our admin team, and he's going to kindly present the slides in the hopes that we don't have any problems. And I was just saying before we joined, I'm running on about 2 hours sleep at the moment as well because I got delayed coming back from an educational, which I'll talk to you about in a bit as well. But yeah, over in Mykonos, which was quite exciting. So thanks for joining. Thank you to everyone that's also listening. Firstly, I just want to say a huge thank you for your interest and finding out more. I believe some of you have actually already reached out to me before joining this call to find out a little bit more as well. So I hope this covers everything. And yeah, like Gillian said, if you've got any questions along the way, I'm super relaxed. Please just put your hand up or if you don't feel comfortable talking, pop your question in the chat and I'll happily answer it if I can, of course. Bev, can you pop the slides up for me, please? Thank you very much. And on to the first slide. So as Gillian kindly said at the beginning, giving us our nice accolade, we are an award-winning independent travel agency. We do specialise in luxury holidays, destination weddings, honeymoons, and probably more bespoke tailor-made type itineraries, although we don't limit our fixers on what they can sell. We've got some UK-based agents that specialise in UK holidays. We have South African specialist, Caribbean, cruise, European. We really can do worldwide. So we don't, although the luxury label is there, we don't want that to be anyone to be put off by that. But mostly our clients tend to come from the luxury market. We are now a team of 17. It started off with just myself, and I'm proud to say that over the last few years that we've now grown the team to 17. It's grown massively this year because I've launched the programme Become a Holiday Fixer, and we're looking to take on 10 more independents this year, with more growth for next year. So as I said at the beginning, so we do adventure holidays, we do relaxation, we do beach, we do UK breaks, ski breaks, safaris, you name it, we can do it. I think the only thing we can't quite do at the moment is Virgin Atlantic and get people to the moon, but I'm sure that will be next on the agenda. We can offer a variety of packages for our clients. We can do everything from concierge services, pre-booking meals, helping with transfers, car hire, lounge passes. Again, you name it, we can pretty much do it. Next slide, please, Bev. So just a bit of background on me, and I suppose this is where the bulk of this webinar will sort of be based on, and it's just giving you a bit of background on my story and how the business came to be. So I am a mum. I have a gorgeous eight-year-old daughter, and I was made redundant from my corporate job whilst on maternity leave. So I think Ava was about 9 weeks old when I got the dreaded call to say that there was been a restructure, and I was part of that. And from literally 9 weeks old, of Ava being 9 weeks old, the redundancy process started. So it was really stressful. Most of my maternity time was taken up on going to consultation meetings, bringing Ava along with me. I have a great story about that. Ava was a talker before she was a walker. I think she takes after me like that. But basically, we was in a HR meeting and she was sat on my lap and she was 9 months old. And they said, "Oh, how are you getting on?" And I was like, "Yeah, fine. I mean, I'm here, but yeah, fine." "Oh, has she said her first word yet?" And I said, "Yeah, I think it was hello." And they were like, "Really? That's a bizarre first word." And I was like, "Yeah, I know." And then right on cue, Ava goes, "Hello," right across the table. So I was like, "Yes. There you go, Bubs." I'm very proud of that moment. Anyway, long story short, after quite a lot of consultation, I negotiated to be made redundant. And I had thankfully negotiated quite a big redundancy payoff because they were being a bit naughty at what they were doing at the time. It wasn't really I suppose not legal, but appropriate because of the situation I was on maternity. Anyway, nonetheless, I saw that as an opportunity, and I decided, after having that experience on maternity, and I felt my maternity leave being taken from me, I decided the corporate world was no longer for me, even though I'd been in it for quite some years. And I felt it was now time to move on and try a new opportunity. So my husband and I were in the kitchen one evening, talking about various different things that we could do. And one of my passions I've always loved is organising holidays for us. So prior to us having Ava, we travelled a lot as a couple. We got married in Mauritius. I actually lived abroad for a couple of years. So it was something that I was always really passionate about. And I'm one of those crazy people that love to sit on the internet for hours and hours and hours researching stuff, finding the most unique places, little quirky hotels, off the beaten track experiences, like not your norm. And I just loved it. I was always helping friends and family book their holidays or give them recommendations. So yeah, my husband had this great idea of, well, let's see if we can turn your passion into a business. And I was like, well, how can I? I mean, I'm 34. I haven't got a tourism degree. I can't go and work in a travel agency because they just won't take you. And I was also used to having quite a nice salary. So to take a huge pay cut like that, I thought was not going to be ideal. Anyway, quick search later, and I found out you could purchase franchises to get into the travel industry quite expensively, but it was a way in for me to set up a business. So I researched quite a lot. I found a company that I felt was right for me. I decided that I was going to go with the most expensive, because the most expensive has to be the best, right? And off I went and signed up to this franchise, and I think I paid circa 20 grand, something like that at the time. And I set up my business. Prior to doing that, though, I did a lot of research, as I said, and also I just went out to all of my friends and family, anybody that I knew, and I actually just tested the water a little bit and said, look, if I was going to do this, would you support me? Would you recommend me? Would you potentially use me? I wanted to make sure that I had a customer base, first of all, before taking that huge plunge. And it was really positive. All my friends and family were like, absolutely, go for it. We've got you, you can do this. So I actually launched the business on my birthday, which was the 16th of December, and that's in 2016. Because I'd had Ava and the past and everything, I was seeing this as a brand new opportunity. You get every circle we get a new moon, and with new moons there's new opportunities. So I had this whole concept of I wanted to do honeymoons, mini moons, baby moons, basically anything that had moon in it was what my niche was going to be. And I was super excited. I was talking to everyone I could talk to about, this is what I'm going to do. I started training, so I had to go away for 5 days for my training. It was the first time I'd ever left Ava, and by this point she was just about 15 months. So that was a big thing for me. We're only a small family, the three of us in London. And I was like, nope, I'm doing everything. This is why I'm doing it. She is my why. So off I went. And to say I was disappointed in my first week of training is probably an understatement. So I remember sitting down and super excited. I've got my niche. And as soon as we did a round robin around the table, it's like, okay, tell me what your niche is going to be. And I told them my story, and I got shot down. They were like, no, never going to work. Honeymoons they're once in a lifetime holidays, but people don't tend to get married every year. So your return rate is probably not going to be great. So yeah, we think you should look at something else. And that really devastated me, because I really had this whole dream of this being my my niche. And then for it to be shot down so quickly, it caught me off guard. So anyway, I went through the training and I walked away from it thinking, okay, do I rethink this? What am I going to do? And I was like, no, like, hold on to that aspiration and dream. This is what you want to do. And I love proving people wrong. It's something that I've just done my whole life. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to prove you wrong. My husband calls it stubbornness, but maybe it is. Maybe it's a bit of both. But anyway, I remember speaking to my beautician, who was amazing, and she was saying to me every week, are you set up yet? Are you set up yet? And I was like, no, not yet, not yet. And then as soon as I was, she referred me to her friend who was getting married. And within 6 weeks, I'd made my first booking. And guess what? It was a honeymoon. And it was to the Maldives. It's 5.5 grand. I'll never forget it. I'll never forget her. And then she referred me to her friend that was getting married. And then she referred me to her friend. And by the end of, I think it was February. It wasn't even 6 weeks, actually. It was about 4 weeks, because I started in the December. It was end of Jan, which is our peak season. By the end of Feb, I'd done nearly about 60 grand worth of sales, all on honeymoons. So I then knew I had something. I knew my niche was right. And it was mostly just recommendations and referrals. So that was how the business was born. I was with the franchise for about 18 months, decided I'd outgrown the franchise, excuse me, and I was now ready to go it alone. And I wanted to have autonomy. I wanted to use my brand, and the Honeymoon Fixer was born. And in 2018, I then decided to join a consortium called Mid Counties, and that's who I'm still with today, which allowed me just to grow the brand in all different directions. So the Honeymoon Fixer was myself, and then my clients did stay with me. Yes, okay, they didn't have a honeymoon every year, but they certainly had holidays, and family would have holidays and they'd refer me to different people. So I created the Holiday Fixer, because I used to get people contact me saying, oh, do you do anything but honeymoons? I'm like, yeah, of course I do. I then started doing destination weddings, and I started to get a reputation as being your go-to wedding planner, especially for the Indian Ocean. So when I left the franchise, I thought, oh, I know, I'm going to start my own homeworking division, because I believed I could do what had been promised to me when I joined the franchise. But I just believed that I could do it for free. I didn't believe that you needed to pay these huge franchise fees like I did. So I started just very softly on Facebook, just put a couple of messages out to my friends and family, and even customers, to say that this is what I was doing. Was anyone interested to find out more? And within the first couple of years, I took on 5 fixers who I'm proud to say are still in the business and doing phenomenally well. And they joined me at the beginning of the Holiday Fixer journey. So that was back in 2018. Fast forward to 2019, we've got the major hiccup. And that major hiccup was my diagnosis of breast cancer. So obviously it caught me completely off guard, wasn't expecting that one, and found a lump, went to get it checked, and within a few hours of going to the clinic to get checked, I was being diagnosed with breast cancer. So that was along comes the next 9 months of my life through chemotherapy. I then find out that my cancer is actually genetic. So my treatment plan has to change. So my single mastectomy was now going to be a double mastectomy, which meant huge major surgery. And also on top of that, my chemotherapy, and then also a hysterectomy. And this all happened in a 9-month span. I am forever thankful to my business and to my fixers for getting me through one of the most traumatic times of my life. Had I not had my business to rely on, and my customers were incredible, I truly don't believe I'd be where I am today. I didn't have to go to the doctors and explain myself to get a doctor's note. I didn't have to have a boss call me up and do return to work. I'm sure if I'd been employed, they would have been supportive. Unfortunately, I've heard some stories from other women with cancer that haven't had it so easy when they've been in work. Whilst I was going through chemotherapy, when I was sick, I could just stay in bed and relax. Yes, I still worked because I'm a bit crazy like that. But I had the security and the comfort to know that I didn't have to just show up if I didn't want to. And my business allowed me to be poorly and still be in my business as and when I wanted to. And I think the passion then accelerated for me to really grow the home working division, because I thought, you know what, this gave me such an opportunity. I need to share this, and it's been successful so far, and I need to teach this. So yeah, so that was 9 months of stress, anxiety, but at the same time security, knowing that I had my business still there. Of course, we all know what happened in 2020. I won't bore you too much about COVID, but another major hiccup. Along comes COVID in March of 2020, which completely knocked us for six. But in the beginning, it was extremely stressful. We didn't know if we were coming or going. We were trying to do all sorts of things for our customers, and then which we did very, very well. We're very proud to say there was never one customer sat on hold waiting to get through to us. They had all of their personal fixers on the phones whenever they needed them. We got all of the refunds for our clients in an extremely timely manner. And within that, we actually grew our customer base quite a lot through being there as a go-to expert. So I was actually asked to go on to BBC quite often to talk about the different restrictions and what that meant and how to navigate through them. So BBC 5 Live, I was their go-to travel partner. So I'd be on they phone me at midnight some nights, and I'm like, gosh, okay, let's do this, because there'd been another change. So it was stop, start, stop, start. But through that, we obviously got well known for the information that we were providing, but also the customer service. We had a lot of people contact us that had booked online, who'd fallen foul of whatever had happened online and was really struggling to get their money back. So we helped them navigate through the process. The process was a minefield. We became scientists overnight to try and understand it all. But we got through it and we came out stronger. And actually, I took that as an opportunity to grow. So whilst there was unfortunately agencies shutting down because they were vulnerable and they couldn't afford to stay open, and tour operators we were losing, etc., I actually took on fixes through COVID. And when we came out of it, we were ready. We knew there was going to be a boom, and there definitely was, and there still is. So we took a lot of time to train, to work with our suppliers, build our customer base, do lots of lives, be the go-to person for information. And that really stood us in good stead for when we came out of COVID, when the final restrictions lifted at the beginning of last year. Oh, and then 2 years on, so the holiday fixer was doing well. We had 10 home working fixers, and the business was moving forward really, really well. Next slide, please, Bev. I'm going to stop there for really quickly. Does anyone have any questions? I'm very mindful that's a lot of information so far. We'll check the chat. Hi, Alex. So it is a franchise model, but there is no franchise fee. So I say it's the easiest way to explain it. We're a home working business. So I'm going to come on to that now about how it works. So it's likened to a franchise in the sense of, like, if you understand how that model works, because you're self-employed, it's your own business, you use our branding, but there are no franchise fees. So I'm going to cover that now. So hopefully that will become a bit more clearer. So people that we're looking for is, you don't have to have a travel background. We are looking for people that are have been well traveled. So when I say well traveled, it doesn't mean you have to have gone to every corner of the globe, but you've been to places that might be a little bit off the beaten track, or you've experienced different types of styles of holidays, so you are confident to be able to talk about different types of places that people can travel to. That would definitely be a bonus. Of course, have a passion for travel, a big time can-do attitude, someone that's a bit resilient. I think I'm going to be really candid on this call as well. I'm going to show you the massive highs that we have, but I'm also going to show you some of the lows as well. If you are from a corporate job and you've worked 9 to 5, and that's a salaried role, and you're used to that security, and then you step into a self-employed sales-based or commission-based sales role, it can be a culture shock beyond a culture shock, because you're not used to, I suppose the word is rejection, in your normal day-to-day job, because it'll be like, can you please do this? Yep, no problem. You do your tasks, you do this, you clock off when you should, and you go home. Whereas when you're self-employed and it's your business, you end up working longer hours in the beginning, because you want to build your clientele and you want to give them the best experience. And you also get no's quite often, unfortunately. So if you've worked on something for a long time for a client and you've put that quote together, and it's not quite right for them, then by the time you go back to them and you've done all this work and they say, I'm really sorry, but we've chosen not to do it, or we've booked elsewhere, that is really hard in the beginning to accept that and learn how to navigate through that. So I don't like to use the word thick skin, but resilient for sure, I think is the right word there. A strong sales background is preferred but not essential. Again, I think if you come from a sales background or marketing or something that's a bit, that is akin to this, where you've got transferable skills, you will definitely be starting on the right foot. And of course, it goes without saying, communication skills, written and verbal, because you're going to be talking to your clients face to face, going to networking meetings, talking via email, etc. And sometimes doing similar things to what I'm doing now. So being confident to be able to sort of stand up and show up and talk to people online. Next question, slide, please, Bev. So going on to the training and support. So the programme will start with a 3-month mentoring programme with me. We've had our first intake of 10 who started in September. We are actually, 2 people have currently not continued because, as I said, it's quite difficult. You can do this around your current full-time job, but what I would say to that, this is something that we're learning as we're going through this, expect it to take a bit more time. Don't expect things to just change overnight, because you're not going to have the same hours you can put into your business like someone who is doing it full time. I started this full time. And I put every hour into it. I went to wedding fairs, events, my weekends were filled with this, my days were filled with networking and then quoting. So if you want to make a real success of this business, then obviously the more hours that you put in, the better you'll be. But we've got a great support system. Bev's on here with me today. Bev and Lisa run our admin. They are incredible. It took me a long time to find a good admin company. They've been with me coming on a year now, or maybe just over a year, and honestly the back office facilities that we have is incredible. I've reinvested a lot of money this year. So you've got your own website, which shows all of your offers. We have an intranet system, which has lots of online training. So if you can't make the lives, you can catch up later. So you can do it around your own hours. Of course, you will benefit more if you can come to the live sessions, because you get more contact with me in those. You're then given like a coach to help you with the product training side of things. So we'll have like the sales mentoring with me, me talking about how I was successful in my business, what worked for me, what you can try, etc. You've got a marketing and planning guide, so how to set up your social media successfully, talking about your client avatar, where you can find them, etc. And then we've got a 12-month planner to help you plan your marketing strategy for 12 months, which comes with a hashtag library. You've got all of, like I said, you've got all of the fonts and the branding and everything that you need to use. It's already and there for you, so you don't really need to think too hard about the strategy. It's more about where you can then go and source your clients. So as I said, it's a 3-month program. I am looking for a commitment of a minimum of 3 months. So even if you start, the financial commitment will still be 3 months. So if you start and you decide actually after 4 weeks that it's too intense, or it wasn't what you was expecting in the sense of the amount of hours that you'd have to put in, or vice versa, I felt that as well, then we can both make an agreement that actually let's leave it there, maybe come back and revisit it when life's a bit calmer for you, or when things may be a bit different. But there is a minimum 3-month commitment with the management fee, which I'll cover with you in a moment. We have lots of online sessions. So there's coaching, there's product training, there's social media training. Suppliers come in and graciously give us their time to teach us all about the destinations and the hotels and all of that as well. And again, you'll have access to the brand assets and your own website. Next slide, please, Bev. I'm just going to have a quick look at the questions, sorry. Are there any limitations on who could do this? It's a bit of an ambiguous one. When you say limitations, Alex, would you mind just giving me a bit more information? I wouldn't say limitations as such. It's probably more mindset and ability rather than like, I don't believe there's a limit to anything, but that's just, again, that's my mindset. So yeah, please let me know a bit more on that. When you say phone-based work, please elaborate on phone-based. It's a home-based job, but this is you have to generate your own clients, guys. We don't provide leads. So as I said, this is a self-employed role. So it wouldn't be that people are calling you from a lead or an advert that we're doing on your behalf. It doesn't require a lot of traveling, no, but we definitely advise you to go out and be well traveled. We offer educational. So I've just come back from Mykonos, where I was invited to go and experience one of the hotels that my suppliers offer. And we were there for 3 days with some other agents. So I pick and choose what I can go on because Ava's my priority, but we do get offered a lot of educationals, yeah. Yep, so thanks, Alex, for the question. We do get the fixers to meet. To network, you probably want to network outside of the other fixers, but I call us a family. We are on call 24/7 with everybody. So like if we've got a group and if you need any support and you pop it in the group, there's like, you'll get 100 answers for what your questions are. We are all over the country now, from Scotland to Liverpool to Southeast, we're everywhere. So it's more difficult for us all to meet up, but we will be looking at doing conferences and getting suppliers down, and then we'll network in that way. But yeah, that's a TBC. Ages and working patterns, again, it's a self-employed role, so this is up to you on what the hours you want to do. But as I said, the more you put in, the more you get out. The coaching and the training are set scheduled hours, and they're Monday to Friday, so they're within sort of core hours, but everything's online so you can catch up with it afterwards. So typically, so lots of different ways. So you might find friends and family might want to book with you. I mean, we all know people that go on holidays. If you've got friends and family that are already booking online or booking with a travel partner, they'll quite easily switch to you. Networking was a great source. I'll cover that in a moment. If we've got time, I'll give you a story about my networking and how that grew my business. Depending on the niche that you want to work in, you'll find out where your client avatar is, and we do a big program on who is your client avatar, how to find them, and then you'll start doing your marketing around that so you can source clients that way. Wedding fairs were a great source. It's limitless. And then in terms of conversion, again, that's individual to each person. Like I convert a lot higher than say someone else who's just joined the business, who's been there for 6 months. So the more practice you get and the more you sell, the better your conversion will obviously become. Okay, I'm going to hold fire on the questions just for a moment and I'll come back to these, but thank you for those so far. And then a couple of benefits of being a holiday fixer. So you obviously get to run your own business. You can do this from home. You can do it around your current commitments, your children. It's entirely up to you how you want to run your business. I mean, there are requirements to be on brand and to make sure that you're representing us as you should be, etc. But in regards to how you do your business and how you run your business, you're not on the clock with me, and that's up to you. We have got a fabulous supportive team. As I said, with our admin, you'll then get your mentoring with me. You'll have a product coach as well. And then you've also got the support of our existing fixers. Perfect work-life balance. So if you want to go on holiday or you want to work internationally, you can do this anywhere in the world. It's entirely up to you. You have to be living in the UK. So you have to be a UK resident to be a fixer, but you can do this anywhere in the world. So if you're not in the UK and you want to set up your business, you can't unfortunately work with us. You have to be a UK agent, so UK based. But if you then started your business in the UK or you're a UK resident and then you move abroad, you can still continue to run your business. So you don't have to go out and agree your commercial terms or your commercial agreements. We do that on your behalf. We have a great supply chain with great commercial agreements with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of suppliers and tour operators, some of them high street that you'll all know, and some of them very specific and tailor-made. So again, you can niche into whatever area that you want. So if it was, here we've got some example, cruising, skiing, cycling, any of those, if you wanted to do more beach, more tailor-made, whatever it may be, you can be diverse because we've got very good agreements in place. All of our packages are ABTOL and ATOL protected. So when you're booking, your clients are fully protected and they are safe in the knowledge that when they're booking with you, all of their money is protected. So you don't have to worry about any of that. And then, as we've just mentioned, there's the perks and benefits of having free trips to the hotels and destinations that you're selling. So this obviously doesn't happen straight away, and but is based on performance as well. So if I've got some agents in the business that are performing exceptionally well, when the educationals come up, they are probably the ones that will get those first, just because they're the ones driving the business. But we do try and be fair, and we try and get as many of you on educationals as possible. And then, of course, you've got your own personal holidays, and you can get discounted holidays after 6 months of being in the business. So that helps you going, with your own holidays and then exploring the different destinations too. Next slide, please, Bev. So as I said at the beginning, there are no sign-up fees to join. There are no franchise fees. The first month's fee is prorated, and there is a setup fee, as in the system has to be set up, but that's minuscule. It's like £20. And then there is a monthly cost. So the management fee is £150 plus VAT per month. This is easily covered by the commissions that you'll earn. Like, the commissions potentially can go up and up. I'll give you examples of those in a moment. But the management fee is your website, your social media platform, all of your admin, all of your insurances for your clients to travel. It does your commission reports. It does everything that you need to do. The only other thing that you need to do is to be self-employed, and that's an annual thing that you need to do at the end of the year. But the £150 plus VAT per month covers all of your administrative to run your business. There are some small other fees in the credit card charges, etc., but they will be covered later on. But that's the only other overhead. The only thing you need to think about in your business in 12 months to get it off the ground is where you're going to invest in yourself to promote your business. So some people might join a networking group. Some people might do a wedding fair. Some people might want to do Facebook ads. Some people might want to do some larger scale events. So it really does depend. The reason I wanted to remove that franchise fee was I saw that as a huge blocker for me when I first started in the business. It took me a couple of years to obviously pay that back. And I felt this opportunity, you don't need to be in debt to be in this business. And if you can save that money and invest it into your business to make it more successful and grow your customer base more quickly, then it, to me, was a no-brainer rather than me making a profit on a franchise fee. There's no sales targets. As I said, within the first 3 months. After the first 3 months, I would expect you to have had enough training that you're good to go. Okay, you're not setting the world on fire, you're not making bookings left, right and centre, but you should definitely be in a position that you've made at least a couple of bookings under your belt. You're feeling much more comfortable on where you're going in your niche. You've done quite a lot of training. And we can say, okay, you've graduated from the 3-month mentoring program, and then you'll go off. I'm always here, as are everybody else. Like, there will always be times for support and one-to-one, but what you'll find is you'll be more comfortable in your role, and you will need less and less support from me. You obviously still use all the admin support and services, but if you ever needed to bounce some ideas off, or if things weren't quite working again, or you were struggling in any way, then you can always touch base and be with me, have one-to-ones with me again. Potential earnings. So if you wanted to do this part-time, I'd say within your first year, you're looking at anything between £10,000 to £15,000. And then if you do it full-time, it's 20,000 plus as a minimum I would be looking for you to earn. And that is uncapped, and it can go higher and higher. Carrie, as an example, has been with me just over 4 years. Yeah, just over 4 years now. She's one of our top performers. She came from a similar she came from a company called Successful Mums, so not Working Mums, but Successful Mums. She did have a bit more of a travel background. She was an air stewardess, but she, I think, is a prime example of someone that had started, really struggled in her business to find her right client, her ideal client, worked really, really, really hard to promote herself. And she is now turning over phenomenal numbers. I mean, she on average gets probably paid anything between £6,000 to £9,000 per month. And she is a great example of someone that started the business very similar to me, didn't have huge contacts, couldn't just go out there, start selling straight away, really had to build her customer base up from the ground upwards, and she's doing brilliantly now. Commission is 60-40 split of the South, the 60 to you, 40 to the business. We're part of mid-county, so before the commission comes to us, they take 10%. So whatever's left at that after their 10% is the 60-40 split. And that's paid monthly, direct to your bank account after the customer has travelled. And that's a COVID thing that we had to introduce. Okay, I'm just going to jump to some questions quickly.
think we've probably got time for a couple, Brit, and then we're going to have to wrap up.
Yep, no worries. Okay, so I think I've covered the support. I think I've covered the cost. Yes, men can join too. Time limit is 3 months. Yep, that's already been mentioned. Is there a family size limit when going on educationals? Sorry, don't understand that question. Apologies.
I think if you're a family of 4 or 5, I think you mentioned educationals in one of the previous slides. Is that just for the...
Yes. Yeah, it's just for the persons in the business, so it's not a family trip. So educationals are when you go and learn about the hotels, you go and see all the different hotels. Sometimes it might be 1, sometimes it might be 10, so it can be quite full on. Bev, can you just jump down to the next slide? Just want to make sure we've covered everything. Cool, perfect. So then just if this is still of interest to you, what I'm requesting everyone to do is if you could go over to theholidayfixer.com, click on Become a Holiday Fixer, download the discovery pack. That will then give us your details. You'll then get an email to say, thank you for your information, blah, 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 blah. If you are then interested from that point, I would ask you to reply to that email with your CV, and then I will be booking in calls with people once I've reviewed the CVs to then talk about it in more detail. It'll be a little mini business plan that I'll ask you to put together, just of who you are, why you want to join the business, where you think you can niche into, what you think your earning potentials are, what you're looking for from your business, and yeah, and then hopefully we can take it from there. The next training intake is in November. There are 7 spaces left on that because I've already got 3 on standby, and then there'll be another intake in the new year. Cool. Sorry, I didn't have time to tell you about my networking. But yes, was there any... What time is it?
Next time, Rick. Yeah, no, we do need to wrap up now, but hopefully next time. And Britt, thank you so much. So much information. Thank you for sharing your story as well. It's been really amazing to hear. There are links in the chat. So to the Holiday Fixer, as Britt mentioned earlier. So please have a look before you leave. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. We will be sending a recording of this webinar to you tomorrow. We're also going to be sending out a feedback form, and would be really grateful if you'd spend a couple of minutes filling that in. But Britt, thank you again, and thank you all of
No worries.
for joining us
Thank you,
today.
everybody.
Take care.
Thank you. Cheers.
Bye.